Vin Diesel is one of the most powerful men in the history of film. Whether he's playing the ultimate action hero, race car driver Dominic Toretto, or a more sentimental role like the one he played in the movie Strays, the power he exudes is unavoidable.
I'm right here.
Vin Diesel is strong. I'm not talking your normal everyday strong, like the guy that can move a sofa. No, I'm talking pulling an 18-wheeler truck strong. I'm talking about him lifting race cars above his head strong. Let's take a look at his muscles real quick. Wow, look at the size. Look at the veins. Look at the definition. It just doesn't get much more muscular than this. Yes, I believe I will be the first to say muscle goes by a new name now, and its name is Vin. People forget there was a time when everybody wanted to look like Vin Diesel. Well, I'm Vin Diesel. Yes, I'm the real Diesel. All you other Vin Diesel are not the real Diesel. Long before Andrew Tate came along and did the bald-headed look that inspired so many men to shave their locks, Vin had pioneered it. He allowed bald-headed men everywhere to feel strong.
Well, I'm Vin Diesel. Yes, I'm the real Diesel. All you other Vin Diesels are not the real Diesel.
In this video, we will be taking a detailed look at Vin Diesel, and we will deeply analyze the true extent of his power, and we will try to ascertain that most elusive data point, Vin Diesel's power level. Now, power levels are inherently tricky things to quantify. That's one of the reasons Akira Toriyama dispensed of them rather early on in the Dragon Ball Z series. But I've been studying this type of thing my whole life, and I've developed a certain science for all of this that I will be using to get an accurate reading on Mr. Groot. Dragon Ball Z tells us the average human has a power level of 5 to 10, with more exceptional human beings getting to around 100. Well, I think it's safe to say that Vin Diesel fits into that exceptional category. And then some. And don't worry, I'm not going to be saying that Vin Diesel is stronger than Ultra Instinct Goku or anything like that. That would be nuts. This is just going to be a serious and realistic look at Vin Diesel's power level. We'll be taking a journey down a timeline of his films and tracking his power progression. Okay, we're ready. Let's look at Vin Diesel's power level. Vin Diesel's first movie role, and probably the longest you're ever going to see his hair in a movie. He had a power level of 21 here, about 1/4 the power of Kid Goku in the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai saga, but still notably 2 to 4 times as strong as the average human being. This is indicative of incredible genetics. Keep in mind, he used to be a bouncer. This was a short film written, produced, and scored by Vin Diesel. It was well received. It got good ratings, and it goes to show how multi-talented the man truly is. With a power level of 150 here, it makes him a little bit stronger than Master Roshi was in the Sand Saga. He must have exercised rigorously to attain such an increase in power level, 7 times his previous power level. Perhaps he felt this increase would help him in the movie business. Directors are always on the lookout for buff guys for certain types of movie roles. With a power level of 460 here, he is now stronger than Goku without weights in the early part of the Sand Saga when he was facing Raditz. This is at another incredible leap in power, 3 times the previous level. And with this being his first starring role in a feature-length film, and him playing a drug dealer, he must have wanted to be all muscled up for the role. This was Vin's first Chronicles of Riddick movie. His power level of 3900 makes him stronger than King Kai. Perhaps because this was an anti-hero role, He really wanted to get buffed up, and you can tell he is majorly buffed up with visible veins, and he just looks great. This was an over 8 times increase from the previous power level. Perhaps as we had entered a new millennium and all the excitement that came with that, couple that with the fact that maybe Vin could tell that this movie was going to start a blockbuster franchise, and he must have really trained hard with all of that in mind. Ooh, the Fast and the Furious, the franchise that really catapulted Vin Diesel to legendary status. We see another pretty major increase in power, more than tripling his power level in only 1 year. And notably, at this point, he was now involved in what would become 2 major blockbuster franchises with Fast and Furious and Chronicles of Riddick. Obviously, his intensive training and massive power level increases were paying off. This power level of 13,700 now made him more powerful than Krillin after he had had his potential unlocked in the Namek saga. A man apart. Wow, I really like his look in this movie. Look at that goatee. It's similar to Michael Douglas in Ant-Man and Robert De Niro's in the movie Heat. That's just awesome. Between 2001 and 2003, we don't see too much of an increase in his power level. Perhaps he was simply satisfied with his physique and power level at the time, or maybe there was something going on in his very private personal life that prevented more of an increase. But I'm not going to speculate there, as this video is meant to deal only in facts. We see Vin play a more lighthearted and comical role in this film. Apparently, he intentionally suppressed his power level for most of the film in a sort of method acting technique type of way. His actual power level probably hovered between 19,000 to 20,000, according to my research. Once again, not too much of an increase in power compared to some of his previous leaps, but it was still a pretty decent jump in power level, and maybe the relatively declined increase was due to a sort of separation from the Fast and Furious franchise for a while, as he was not really in the second or third film, only making a brief cameo in one of them. In this film, boy, does Vin look muscular with all of the tattoos. This was not a very well-received movie. Maybe Vin Diesel could sense that this movie was going to flop, and he buffed up extra to cope, because this 42,500 power level was over double his previous power level, and it is almost double Vegeta's full power during the Namek saga. Now, this movie, what can I say about this movie? Just fantastic. Fast 5 is widely regarded as the best Fast and Furious movie. It had a great cast. It had some of the greatest action scenes that Hollywood has ever seen. Vin Diesel, with his power level of 153,000 here, he over tripled his previous power level. Now, that's just a massive power up. I mean, already being at over 40,000 and still being able to more than triple the power level, that's practically unheard of for a human. This type of insane power increase had to be due, at least in part, to his feud with The Rock. The anger he felt toward his fellow bald-headed Hollywood star must have drove him to train especially intensely. The Rock wasn't just going to come in and steal his franchise. And Vin Diesel, we sort of do have to cover this here, because Vin Diesel, The Rock, there's this feud. There's people that think The Rock is stronger. There's people that think Vin Diesel is stronger. I'm going to definitively tell you that Vin Diesel is simply stronger than The Rock. His muscles are far more functional, while The Rock's are mainly just for show. We see another pretty significant power boost here for this film, a little over 2.5 times his previous power level. He may have possibly been motivated by the fact that this was a major blockbuster superhero role, in the wildly popular Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he was also probably showing a great deal of respect to the power and wisdom of trees. Vin perfectly voiced the role in Guardians of the Galaxy, and his increased power level helped to give his voice that extra edge it needed while saying, "I am Groot." This 392,500 power level put him right on par with a pre-enraged Gohan when he took on second form Frieza. This was another of Vin's great franchise films, and though he did not experience as exponential an increase as we have seen previously, this was still a very respectable increase from a man that continued to train and get stronger, and he just keeps on getting bigger, getting more serious even as he ages. And this power level of 541,000 made him stronger than first form Frieza at full power. This was another steady increase in power level, as Vin Diesel plays a Marine resurrected from the dead and given superpowers. While this film did not get good ratings, Vin still performed excellently in his action scenes, and this power level of 822,000 made Vin Diesel stronger than an enraged Gohan when he took on a second form Frieza. Vin finally breaks through the 1 million power level here in the latest Fast and Furious movie, and this is just a testament to his incredible discipline, intense training, great diet, and great genetics overall. He really wanted to be as muscular as possible for this movie, and he has reached heights that few thought possible. This power level of 1,340,000 makes him considerably more powerful than second form Frieza at full power. I'd say the only reason we don't see him get to power levels well above 10 million after his last exponential power increase with Guardians of the Galaxy is just because he'd reached human limits in terms of exponential growth. He's not a Saiyan with access to Zenkai after all. Now, if he was a Saiyan, well, that's a different video. Now, this should be fun. Let's look at the theoretical possibilities. This will be a little bit speculative by nature, unlike the fact-based and realistic power levels I've given so far, but even this calculation will be based on solid power level theory. Let's look at just how high Vin's power level could be with multipliers he would realistically have access to. For this, we will look to Gohan. When Gohan was only 4 years old, without any training, he is thought to have had a power level of 1. However, when he became enraged when Raditz attacked his father, his power level shot up to 1,307. That's a 1,307 times increase. And this was a common theme throughout Dragon Ball Z, especially with Gohan, the Rage power-up. And humans are capable of something similar in the case of an adrenaline rush. Now, as we've seen in the Fast and Furious movies, Vin is capable of getting pretty angry himself when you mess with his family. If you mess with Letty or Mia, oh boy, you'll learn how angry he can get. We're going to be realistic here, and instead of a 1,307 times increase, we've run some data, and it looks like we'll be giving him an 85 times increase. So put that into the data tracker. Vin Diesel's Rage power-up gives him an 85 times increase. We're also going to draw from the mechanics of the Spirit Bomb and Super Saiyan God, which allows others to contribute energy or power that makes you more powerful. We'll translate this to the power that family gives Vin, both in Fast and Furious and in real life. While the Super Saiyan God multiplier is estimated to be at least 100,000 times, we're going to once again take the practical route, and we're going to simply give Vin a 7.5 times multiplier from the power of family. So we will add both of those multipliers up 85 times and 7.5 times to come to a 92.5 times multiplier when Vin Diesel is propelled by the power of family and enraged. And if we take his last known power level of 1,340,000 and multiply that by 92.5 times, we come to a figure of 123,950,000. This makes Vin Diesel a little stronger than 100% full power final form Frieza, and he even approaches a full power Super Saiyan Goku's power level. And keep in mind, this is all with being rather conservative with the calculations. Wow, Vin Diesel is legendary. Vin Diesel, being a celebrity with excellent talent, he likely just has better genes than the rest of us, and he also has the means to work out and diet the right way. He's also able to work out at a level that would probably just destroy most other people on this planet. Add to this the fact that he has the money to fund a team of the best nutritionists and researchers who are likely always looking into new ways to buff him up even more, increase his power level even more. I, for one, just can't wait to see what he's going to look like in this new final Fast and Furious movie, because I'm sure he's going to go all out for that one. Well, we love you, Vin.